If you came here looking for the perfect plant care routine, good news, you're in the right place. Just maybe not in the way you expected. I'm going to show you how my plant care still works beautifully even without an actual schedule. Have you ever watched one of those aesthetic plant care routines? You know, where they put on maybe some scented candles around, lower the lights even, put on some soft jazz and mist all of their plants with a tiny, tiny little gold little spray bottle? Yeah, that is definitely not me. If we haven't met before, my name is Angie, welcome to my channel. Now, I've been growing plants for a few years now. I have over 300 of them, and I've wanted to do a plant care video like this for ages. But the truth is, as I've thought about it, I don't really actually have a routine. Sure, there's things I do regularly more than other things, but it's definitely not the same thing every single Saturday. So honestly, I don't actually have a routine or a consistent weekly routine. But the thing is, not having a consistent routine might be the actual most consistent thing I do. So today I'm going to just take you along with what I do on a plant care day. Today's Saturday, it's beautiful weather, even though it's just the beginning of winter. I've got the full day and I've got the time, so I'm going to bring you with me. So let's actually see what needs doing, because honestly, that's how I take care of all my plants. I go around and I let them tell me what they need. So first things first, the one consistent thing I do every day, plant day, is I do water my plants as they needed, because it does take time. First thing you need to do is grab your watering can. Obviously, I'll grab all of the other elements that I've got here prepared today, and I'm going to fill my watering can, which I've got one prepared here earlier, obviously. So the very first thing I'll do is, with my water, I'll sometimes have it filtered, sometimes I won't, depending on which plants I think I need watering, but I will often add something called silica. Now, silica helps strengthen plant cell walls. If you haven't tried it before, give it a go. It's really good for stressful situations or helping plants recover. So in winter, it actually helps the plants, but it also is meant to help the more variegated plants have stronger variegation, or at least keep those white parts of those leaves whiter for longer. It just helps the plant be stronger in that sense. Now, it's not a be-all end-all fix. It won't permanently keep your white plants white or your white leaves white. It's not a permanent fix for leaves going brown. That is very natural. Don't beat yourself up if it does happen. But this does help elongate the variegation and help keep the variegation strong versus not, I guess. So it's not a be-all end-all, but it does help a little, and I think it helps keep my plants, my variegated plants, for longer. Okay, so let's add the silica in. Now, once the silica is mixed in, you need to let it sit for at least 20 minutes, because if you put the fertilizer in straight away, it doesn't work as well, something like that. I'll have to put the details below and have a look at that again. I can't quite remember, that's okay. But I'll add the silica, and then I've got 20 minutes to wait. So right now, I actually have some time to go around, and the next thing I will do once I've filled it up with water and silica is I will go around and start checking my plants. So I'll have a look around. I'll usually start in different groups. I've got my kitchen group, I've got my above the microwave group, I've got my upstairs group, downstairs group near the window, because I do have a lot of plants similar in those similar groups. I'll explain that in a second. So I'll have a look and I'll see, are there any dry pots? I'll lift up the pots, see how light they are. Any leaves looking droopy or, you know, sullen? Is there a lot of dust? I have dogs, so there's always dog hair around that covers the leaves of the plants. I want them to be clean. Any plants that need a repot, any of that kind of thing I will do in those 20 minutes while my silica is dissipating properly into the water. At this stage, I'm just taking a mental note of all the plants near me. I check my plants in groups so I don't forget to, because that's easier for me. So I know what happens there, I know what happens over there. Also, on my watering day, I'll usually water my moss poles as well, while I remember. So I need to prep my water bottles. So as you can see here, I've got some big ones and some small ones, and I'll just add a little bit of this root biostimulant as well as a tiny little bit. It just keeps the poles wet and the aerial roots happy. Okay, so today I have another 10 minutes. 8 minutes 20 before my first set of watering. So I always just fill in the 20 minutes between waiting for that silica to, dissipate within the water. I've always got those 20 minutes. So that's why my day is so, or it feels so random. I guess it's not, but I'll water and then go off and do something, and then water and then go off and do something. And I let my plants just tell me what they need to do. Plus, I watch my plants every day. I love looking at plants. It's my hobby, it's my passion. So I'm always noticing things around plants. So right now I know there's a really dusty plant right behind me, so we might just wipe that over. And there's a couple upstairs as well. I need to do that today. So we'll do that in 8 minutes. So let me do that. So I'm just wiping over these leaves because they have been outside all day yesterday, and they seem to have got some
dirty water on them. It's been a very muddy couple of days, so it's probably just splashed up from somewhere, and I want them to maximise. I mean, they're my beautiful, beautiful Plumania, so I want to maximise the amount of light coming in. While I'm here, I will just check over for any extra dust or any bugs or anything like that, make sure they're all wiped off, make sure I'm checking the back of the leaves. They're everywhere, but I've learned that bugs are a natural part of plant care if you have lots and lots of them. What I don't want, Phil, this is jungle time right here, I tell you. What I don't want is spider mites. They're the worst. I hate them. I do think this one had a bit of spider mites a while ago, but I don't think they've come back. Not that I can see. So that's what I'm just checking for. I'm checking all the crevices. It has these nice little frilly bits, but mealybugs can hide. I hope you can hear me through all of this. But hey, this is reality. Yeah, I'm taking you with me. This is how I do it, crawling in and out of every space and plant leaf that I have. Check underneath. She's doing pretty well.
So question, how often do you clean your leaves? I'd be really interested to know. Do you only wipe them down when you're visibly dusty because you have too many? Or do you proactively go around like I probably should and wipe them down? Please leave it in the comments whether you're a really good proactive wiper or you don't have time and you just dust them off when they're visibly needed, like me and my 300 plants. Okay, 20 minutes is up now, so I'm back to my watering can, so it's now time to add in my actual fertilizer, which is GT Foliage Focus. You'll notice I use the GT or the Growth Technology brand, not sponsored yet, but my plants just love this stuff, so I do want to share it with you guys because I think it is really, really high quality product. So I'll add a good amount of fertilizer into my watering can. And that amount of fertilizer will depend on the type of plants that I'm about to water. So in this case behind me, I've got a lot of philodendrons and monsteras. So I'll only make sure I put in 60 to 70% of what the millage tells me on the back. I want to keep it low key. I don't want to over fertilize. I don't want to overburn or burn any of the leaves through fertilizer burn. So I'll make sure I give it a low percentage. However, if I'm about to give my alocasias a water, I will up that a bit because alocasias love consistent watering and they love to eat. They're very hungry plants. They love their fertilizer. So I will give them full strength as much as possible, or maybe 90-95%. So this says 5 to 7 milliliters of foliage focus per liter of water. So I would definitely add the full 7 per liter for my alocasias and maybe only about 4 or even 5 for my other plants. I hope that makes sense. So again, that's why it's another reason why I water my plants in groupings and look after my plants in groupings. There's one more thing I do as well. So we've got silica, we've waited for 20 minutes, we've got our fertilizer now, and then the other thing I will add is this. I've been using this now for about 6 to 7 months. It's called SNS 209 and it helps prevent pests. Now you can use this on hydroponic. You can put it in with your leca if you've got that, or you can use it within your fertilizer, or I think you can even use it as a foliar spray. Yes, you can use it as a foliar, there it is on the directions. You can use it as a foliar spray as well. I don't do that, I just put it in my fertilizer. And it does actually say on here, safe around children and pets. So that's pretty good too, because it is literally just rosemary extract. And so it goes into the cells of the plants and helps prevent pests. So when pests are eating the cells, they don't like the taste or something like that, I don't know. I'm not a micromolecular biologist when this kind of stuff happens. But point is, I've been using SNS 209 for prevention for about 6 to 7 months. I do feel like it's helping with fewer pests, touch wood, because I don't want to jinx myself there. Okay, let's add it all and let's start watering. Heading outside. Okay, so while I think about it, you might be thinking while I'm watering my plants, how much does she water? How much does she put in the pot? I make sure I fill it up and I circle it around and I want to get all of the soil dry. I make sure I put the water all around. I put at least half a pot's worth of water in there, but I know I'm not overwatering it because I have methods that I do to catch the water underneath, and I will leave the water sitting there if there is some underneath for the day, and I'll check it again tomorrow. If you want more detail on how I don't overwater my plants, and I'm very, very safe with plants, in fact, I underwater more than overwater, I have created a whole video around it. I would really encourage you to watch it if you do tend to overwater your plants, because there's a few tips and hacks in there that I do that really helps save my plants from me giving them too much water and them sitting in water for too long, even though I do let them sit in water. I hope that will make sense. It will make sense if you haven't seen the video, so please go and watch it up here where the can is pointing. So yeah, it's a good video. Right, now it's time to water some plants up in my IKEA cabinet. I've got my small one here, so let's go upstairs and water some in my IKEA cabinet because I know they need a drink. Okay, so my IKEA cabinet here, I've got all of these plants down here that need watering, obviously. I've got my watering can. I'm also going to do something with my queen here in a second, so just let me water and I'll explain. This is one of those random things that I pick up, so hold on. Right, before I water the top, I want to show you, I'm just going to turn this around a bit. So this is my poor queen Anthurium, my Anthurium Warocqueanum. It's got 2 leaves. It had about 6 leaves and it got thrips in this cabinet a while ago. And I thought I had saved about 4 or 5 leaves, but I hadn't. They've all gone. The most recent one I had to get rid of literally 2 days ago. So what I'm going to do, I have just watered it. What I'm going to do is, see the leaves are pointing, there's the front of the moss pole. See the leaves are pointing backwards because of where the lighting was. That's got a rip in it anyway. So I kind of need to start her over again. So what I'm going to do is, based on my previous video of my Adansonii glow up, where I did that big moss ball around the aerial roots, I'm going to do that for this here. So I'm going to literally take this downstairs into the backyard where I can make a bit of a mess with the sphagnum moss, and I'm going to try and wrap some sphagnum around so I can grow all of these stems out here. There's some at the back, but they're not doing so well either. They're drippy, because the whole thing is bare. You can see, look, the whole thing is bare. So I want to kind of start from scratch there, and then if I cut it just underneath where those aerial roots are really like thick and chunky, I might have 2 and I'll put them in the same pot. So, you know, sometimes even though the plant hasn't gone very well lately, the most recent leaf is doing okay, but she's not my best, even though I absolutely adore this plant. So I've got to do something drastic. So she's had a drastic problem, so I'm going to have a drastic solution. So I'm going to try it again. So let's see how we go. This is what I love about plants, is trialing something new. So let's do that. Okay, go outside. Sitting on the floor. Okay. Ignore the mess. It is gardening day, so I've got stuff everywhere. As I said, I'll clean up at the end, so apologies for the mess, but hey, it's reality. So as you can see, there's the front and the leaves are facing backwards. So we've got to fix all of that. I'm not a fan of that, but there are some really thick, chunky roots that have started to come out. They were there for a while, but you can see, like, that's where the last original leaf was. It just came off because it was ready to go. It was damaged until we get to the leaves. So let's do what I did for my Adansonii. I've got my cling film. So I'm going to get a whole piece out of the way, of course. Make it long. We have these beautiful little, I don't see this. I lived in the UK for ages and there's no slider like that on the ones in the UK. So it makes it so easy to cut. Anyway, so that's what it is so far. But what I'm going to do, because we don't need it that high, I'm going to awkwardly fold it in half, but it sticks to itself, obviously. So, okay, makeshift. There you go. There's my glad wrap, because it's going to go there. So wait, that fits. Right. Sphagnum Moss is some I prepared earlier. I've had for ages. I'm going to start with Sphagnum Moss on my, can you see that? I'm going to put it on there like a little cigarette. Right, and then I don't want that to bend too much, so let's do what we can there. Right, so 1 and ta-da! See, that's so easy. Right, now what I do want to do is I'm going to put another little piece underneath to hold in the moisture. And of course, tighten up a bit at the back so the glad wrap holds on. So the cling film, I should say, hold on. So I'm okay if it's open there because obviously I want to get it watered. Those roots should grow in a lot more. And yeah, I just want them to get stable. I want those roots. I could have just chopped it and put it in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it a little bit more and see if I can get any more roots out of the others. And then maybe some extra roots can start a little bit lower so then I can cut into the half, but we'll see. So I'm going to leave that for about a month, maybe 2 months, depending. She's not a fast grower, so I do want to see some roots coming through or alongside the cling film. So yeah, that's another task for today. So that's what I'm going to do today. She's going back in the cabinet. Right, so I have here a propagation box which has been sitting under a grow light, under a shelf, tucked away. I haven't actually looked at it in a while, so I'm going to see it because I think it needs a water, and it's got quite a few of my Alocasia dragon scale corms that have been, oh yeah, some have dried out, oops. And you know that I've left it, yeah, you know that I've left it too long when the roots in my propagation boxes outgrow the space. Yeah, so these definitely need a root pot. This is an Alocasia gigania. I have a variegated one, but it popped out some baby non-variegated ones, so that's her. That's little babies. He needs a water, but he's okay. A little billet. This is a billet seed, billetier. However you say it, you know what I mean. Philodendron billetier, and I bought it as it could be a variegated seed, but it's not. But I didn't spend a lot of money on it, so don't panic. I didn't waste money, but it's a gorgeous little plant, isn't it? It's so cute. But it might just give him a water. This doesn't seem to be doing so well, but nope, hasn't done a thing. I might just throw that out. It's a Philodendron gigas leaf that hasn't liked the heat. It's got a tiny little bit of new growth on the stem there. You can see it's been, you see that? Tiny. Here it is. There. But it's doing something, but I mean, I feel guilty throwing out, but I've got a few cuttings of gigas. I don't really need it. It's a bit wonky. Yeah, that's right. I don't keep things too long. Right. Oh, there you go. So he's definitely needs a water. Got some roots coming out, but he's doing okay. I won't change him today. He just needs a water. Look, it's been too much heat in a closed box with some direct light on it. Even if it is winter, by the way, today. It is winter and it's bright blue sunny skies, which is beautiful. We have some terrible winters here in Sydney. So yeah, so there's another one. So might just take off a few leaves. He needs a water, and then this needs a big water. It's as light as a feather. You can see some dry leaves. They're dry. The sphagnum is way too dry for what an Alocasia should be. So I will bring that out, and I might put some up into a pot. I'll water them obviously, and then put some up into a pot today because I want a empty propagation box, because I'm also working today, which you won't see a lot of until maybe a month from now. I'm working on a propagation trial experiment. You'll see more of it to come, but yeah, so I want this box, so that's also another reason why I checked that today. I'm glad I did, because it needed it. Okay, let's pot these up really quickly, and I'll show you the outcome. Okay, we're done. 1 and that one. Hey, so cute. So I'll make sure it stays in a very humid environment until they grow quite thick and chunky, because these leaves get very thick. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So cute. Right, there's still so much more to do. I'm going to have a bit of a break, but we also need to just do some chopper props. We've got to get some overgrown leaves. There's a few plants that have overgrown. I need to chop them down. I need to bring in a plant from outside, which is in the back there in my, I call it Darwin's Corner. Whatever survives out there survives. And surprisingly, they do better than when I look after them sometimes, but that's another story. And what else we got to do? And of course, we've got to clean up and water upstairs and water the leca as well. So still a lot to do, so bear with me. I'm going to have a break, I'm going to have lunch, we'll come back. And of course I left my watering can upstairs, I think, like a dope. So this is why Saturdays are so random, because I do weird things all the time, and a little bit of watering, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yes, I did. Ta-da. Silly me. Okay, let's try that again. Look at this beautiful new leaf. Doesn't have many leaves, but look at that. Alocasia cuprea or Alocasia red secret. I've been told, I asked, and I've been told they're both exactly the same plant, but and I've popped him up on another pot so you can get a little bit more light from the window. I've also got some babies. Look, anyway, there, he's so cute. I found some corms, and I have them in this cool little cheese pot. I have them in this cool little cheese pot, which is actually perfect for leca. Look at that, it's actually cheese. And thankfully I like cheese. So
I reuse everything if I can. This is the best. If you're in Australia, buy these and put your plants in it when you're finished with it. My little baby here is regrowing. He's a bit light actually, he needs water. Regrowing finally. Okay, they need a bit of water. Okay, there's 3 plants in there that need a bit of water, so let's do that. Okay, I have noticed this leaf needs dusting. It's got dog hair on it. You see that? Dog hair. Okay, I need to dust that. Okay, we're done with that one. Okay, so only a few more things to do, but we are outside next to my big frangipani tree. And there are 2 plants here that I need to do a transformation with and save. So we're not going to do a lot today. All I'm going to do is cut one of the plants and get it prepped, ready to bring back inside, and I'm going to propagate the whole thing again. So let's just quickly cut that. It's my beautiful, beautiful white princess, but she ain't looking good, so you're going to see the worst of the worst. She has been giving white leaves for as long as I can remember at the top. So we've got to cut the whole thing that way. There we go. Okay, we have this. Let me bring it up. Has been giving me white leaves for at least the last maybe 15-20. There's the last non-white leaf, so I need to cut that, and it's probably going to throw away because it's just white leaf, white leaf, white leaf. So there's that. You can propagate all of that if it works. And then here's the plant. It's the full plant. So again, look at that. Look at that. That's dead. Oh, he's bendy. Oh my god, bendy, bendy, bendy. Actually, that whole one is gone. Look, so we can just pull. The whole one is gone. So we've just got this guy here to propagate, and this guy here to propagate 1 and 2. So I've got a bit of work to do, but that'll be another video for another time. So let's bring, I'm just going to give him a bit of a wash and a spray so there's no spiders coming in with me, and then we can do the rest another day. So that's another chore. Quick fix while we're here. Let's see if that works. Oh look! More orchid flowers coming. Okay, a little bit cleaner. Still outside. There's still a lot of work to do, but I've got a lot of plant stuff. So before I go inside, it's turned into a bit more of a day in the life with me than a chore, but I guess that's what this randomness is all about. So I hope you've enjoyed it. So before we just go inside and finish off, just want to show you, look at that gorgeous Warocqueanum leaf. It was literally just, I think, a cutting or something that I just grew willy-nilly, left it outside. So it's not really hanging on to anything, but gorgeous leaf. Look at that. Just stunning sometimes. Nature does its own thing, doesn't it? Okay. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's go inside and finish off. So yeah, I do care for my plants regularly, and I do fertilize often. I obviously fertilize as much as needed, but I don't necessarily follow a schedule, or maybe I follow a half consistent schedule. But mainly I just try to take note of all the signs that my plants are trying to give me. A droopy leaf, a pot that's light, dusty leaves, an overfull propagation box perhaps, or just even when a plant is just looking at me weird. I'll just double check, because I am a bit of a helicopter mum in terms of my own plants. I have so many of them. I love plants like many of you out there. So I'm looking at them constantly. So I am keeping a mental note or writing down in my Apple Notes, or I have Notion as well. If you've ever tried Notion, Notion is amazing. So I do look after my plants, but I do it based on what they need, not just the same thing every single week, because it's just too much. And honestly, I have so many plants that if I had to look after every single plant every single Saturday, it would be a nightmare and take me, I don't know, it'd probably take me the whole week to do that. I'd love to know, what are the main signs that you see for your plants to look out for? What do you look out for when you're on your plant day? This isn't everything that I do, obviously, but there's plenty more out there. So
especially if you're watching this and you've been looking after plants for a while, can you please just share in the comments below so we can help those people who are more newer to plants to know what signs they might be wanting to look out for, whether their plant is in a sign of stress or trouble, or even if their plant is happy. Give us some signs. What do you love watching out for? Like a new leaf, you know, especially many of you are going through spring right now as you're watching this. So give us some signs and write in the comments below what you look out for on your plants that tell you a certain sign of stress or happiness. So as I said, my plant care routine, it might look random, but it's actually not. It's just a responsive plant care routine. I care for my plants by reading them, not always just following a schedule or not just ticking a box or a list of things in my head, because that's just following a list. That's not really knowing what's going on. And honestly, the flexibility that I then give myself to not look after every single plant every single Saturday has made me feel like my plant care is just really a fun thing to do. It doesn't feel like a chore. It's like my plants are living with me, not me just living for my plants every single day because I have too many. Because I don't have too many. I could definitely do with more. If you've been trying to force a plant care routine and it's just not working for you, honestly, it's probably not you. It's probably just because your routine doesn't fit your plants or your lifestyle. You don't need a picture perfect aesthetic, you know, Instagram schedule. All you need is to understand how your plants are giving you messages, and that takes time to learn. So if all you did today was to spot a thirsty leaf and think I should do something about that as you're looking around at your plants, that actually counts. That's what I want you to know from today. Watch, listen, learn, and it takes a long time to really understand all your different plants. So as long as you're learning as you're going, you know, trial and error does count. I think that's the best thing ever. Now, especially if you are still learning about your plants, and let's be honest, who isn't? I still am. I want to share something with you today because I have been working in the background and I've created a tool for myself, which I'm going to share with you guys. And it's actually really helped me approach my plant care in a nice, like confident way. So really excitingly, I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I've custom designed a digital plant care assistant that you can just carry around on your phone. It's created by me, Leafy Lovin, and it gives you personal advice for your plants, for your space, for your home, for your specific environment, for your climate. Now, it is through ChatGPT, but the amazing thing is you don't have to understand anything about ChatGPT to use it live. I've literally made it so you go into this one link, you press a go button, and you just follow along. It asks you questions, you input things, and it'll give you the information you need based on your plant and your climate where you live. So it'll give you personalized advice. It'll give you plant-based knowledge based on your plant in your climate, in your weather conditions. It'll understand where you live and it'll keep that confidential. I don't see any of that information. It's just tailored to you and your home and your experience level. So whether you're a total beginner or deep in the plant jungle, I like to call my experts jungle experts, then this tool is called My Plant Buddy. It's a ChatGPT tool and it gives you real care tips, not just generic rules. And all of this is for less than the price of an actual new plant. So if you need to, you can use this to help save the ones you already have. If you want to know more about the My Plant Buddy tool that I've created, it's absolutely brand new. It's got all the new fandangled things. I've had some feedback from people through my email newsletter, so I have worked on it to make it as great as possible. If you want to know more, or if you have feedback about this tool and you do get it, please let me know. And especially if you want to know more, or you want to keep up to date with things like this, please come and join my newsletter, my Leafy Lovin newsletter. Again, I'll leave the link below. That's where I share all of the things, plant accessories, plant love, and just how to look after your plants. And you can actually just reply direct to that email and it comes straight back to me, so you can ask me any questions that way as well. So now you've seen my routine and you've realized probably that routine isn't actually necessary, then you might be thinking, what is essential in plant care? Well, for me, it has been and it always will be starting with really strong foundations, aka the soil and the potting mix that you use. So I'm going to leave you with this video right here. It's my amazing Aroid potting mix, DIY potting mix, where I go through all of the elements and why you need them. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, I hope your week is an abundance of lots of beautiful, colorful leaves, love and laughter, and I will see you in this next video over here. See you later. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? You're on an unmade bed there. Now I'm going to have to clean that as well. Thank you very much.